Yeah, good evening, Rachel. Well, as you know, it's so cold outside. It's been snowing since we got here, but be sure, nobody wants to leave. That will be the fate, though, for anyone who loses from now onwards. The safety net has been ripped away. Joshua Filler is a big favourite to win this match. But he was a clear favourite also earlier today. Right. Alex Pagulayan had other ideas then. Beware the wounded animal. And as well, Carl has been a wounded animal. He's such a competitive animal, Joshua Filler. He will have really been hurt by that unexpected defeat to Pagulayan earlier. And he will come out tonight feeling he's got something to prove to himself as much as anything else.
Yeah, he knows what's going on now. He knows he's got to win this match, and it's as simple as that. And this is not the best start. He was trying to come the other side of the 9-ball. Danielle's tricky opponent. They will have played a lot of matches around the European pool scene, but the fact that it's on the main table just adds that extra little bit of spice, of course.
Yeah, Corrieri's been a stalwart of the Euro Tour for some time, been in a couple of finals on it, in fact.
Didn't play the pot there.
Very nearly not in this round, Corrieri. Lost his opening match to Khalid Al-Ghamdi, the young Saudi Arabian player, 9-6, and then had to go to a hill-hill finish before seeing off Juan Carlos Exposito in the first round on the loser's side.
Playing the jump shot. Is he going for the jump bank? That's what he's gone for. He missed it. Now, is it your lucky day, or are you going to leave a shot? Well, he's going to leave a pot for Josh. It would have been very easy for Joshua Filler to play an attacking shot on the 3-ball. The fact that he ducked and played a safe just maybe shows you that he knows how important this opening couple of racks are in the match.
Nice and comfortable in the first round against Australia's James Georgiadis. Filler won that one 9-3. Before that Pagulayan defeat. And he's not the only Filler on the loser's side. His wife Pia, very accomplished player who he faced on his way to the European Open title last season. Well, she was in action in the first round on the loser's side earlier today and went down in a hill-hill finish to Dimitros Loukatis, who plays Johan Chua tonight.
Yeah, it was hill-hill, and he actually broke off and made the 9 on the break at hill-hill, Michael. So it wasn't in the first visit for Joshua.
Joshua Filler.
Nevertheless, he leads 1-0. 25 years of age, world champion in 2018. Went out quite early in his defence the following year against Kasper Matikainen, who went on to the quarter-finals. This is the format, 128 players here, 100 off the rankings, and then 28 invited. Double elimination through to the end of tonight when we're down to the last 64, and then it's just one round in each session and straight knockout all the way. Winner breaks format. Got to win 2 matches to get through to the last 64, but you've got 3 chances to get them effectively. And when we get to that stage tomorrow, we move up to race to 11. Might not seem like too different, but it really does have a whole other feel to it. And once you get to the final, it's race to 13.
break. Leading 1 rack to nil.
Made the one in the side. Been breaking very well actually as Josh. Even though he lost against Alex, he did break well. He was making the one consistently. And he does have a shot at the 2.
When he won the championship back in 18, Carl, it was still out in Doha, and that was a very different event, wasn't it? A totally different feel to what we've had the last couple of years. Yeah,
it was in a sports hall, and if you were sat in the seating, it was fixed seating. You were miles away from the table. It was just not a good atmosphere. It was difficult to watch the matches, and couldn't really follow the scores, so it felt a bit non-existent. Obviously, the players know this is a lot more professional, a lot more meaningful.
Well, it feels as though since Matchroom took it over, it's just moved up a step every year. Obviously, in 21, it was at Milton Keynes, but we were still very much in the grip of COVID then, so it was behind closed doors. Then at Milton Keynes again, this time with crowds in, and now it feels we've taken it to another level. And every ticket is sold for the 3 remaining days in Kielce after this.
Playing for the bottom right corner then. Yeah, I don't know.
We could tell from the way he stood up, it certainly wasn't what he intended, but this is absolutely fine. Got to take a little bit of care with it, but highly unlikely it'll be any problem for him. Well, do you think he means business? In no time at all, Joshua Filler has clinched a 2-0 lead for that break and run. Let's see what's going on elsewhere. Mika Immonen. He's up against Piers Labutis of Lithuania. 1-1 in this one. It feels like Immonen's been around forever. We are still keeping an eye on the previous round because that hasn't quite been completed yet. 7-7 between Davy Piergiovanni and Francesco Candela, who of course we saw against Jason Shaw. 7-7 in the all-Italian clash.
Rack 3. Joshua Filler to break, leading 2 racks to nil.
Also worth keeping an eye on Abdullah Al Yusuf, a semi-finalist last year against Shane Wolford in this round. That one's 1-1.
Well, he's got a shot on this 2-ball. He's made the 1 again, so this is looking a little bleak for Corrieri early on in this match.
For a lot of people, this will be the first time they've seen some pool action since the Mosconi, and it was another really good one for Filler. Clinched the winning point for the 2nd year in a row and the 3rd time in all. Was MVP at the end of the week, as he had previously been on his debut in 2017. Seems remarkable that he wasn't in the team then the following year for the first of the 2 back-to-back European defeats. Came just before he won that year's World Championship, so that was too late to make any difference. And then when he won the US Open the following spring, I'm sure he'll have enjoyed the fact that along the way he beat 3 of the 5 members of that European team he'd been left out of.
Through his shoulder at that one. Not quite with it at the minute, Josh. That is very unlike him.
Yeah, he's had a few strange misses today. In the match against Pagulayan earlier, there was that 2-ball in particular that we couldn't believe he missed. As you say, not typical at all.
That's not good, is it, from Corrieri? His first real chance in this match, and he hooks himself. Well, it wasn't that close from Corrieri. I suppose at least he's left a little bit of distance.
He has, but is there anyone in the game better at this sort of shot than Filler? Glad he potted that one after the build-up.
Yeah, he played it with a little bit of spin as well. That was nicely done.
Daniele Corrieri was handed an absolute gift after that miss on the 5 from Filler, but couldn't make it count. And Joshua Filler has raced away into a 3-0 lead.
Winning 3 racks to 0.
Joshua Filler missed the 5 unexpectedly in the 3rd rack, but still ended up winning it after Corrieri led him back to the table very quickly. So he's breaking at 3-0.
Very good at potting the 1-ball on the break. He's doing it time and time again. Sort of drawing the cue ball quite a lot and getting it arcing back. Can you see the potting angle of this 2-ball? That's what he's looking at, so it's clearly tight.
Big night for Wojciech Szewczyk, one of the leading Polish players. He's level at 2-all with Elliot Sanderson. Oscar Dominguez of the US Mosconi Cup team a couple of months back has a 3-1 lead over João Grillo of Portugal. Nikos Economopoulos 2-1 up. James Aranis.
Well, he felt he couldn't pot the ball, so he played safe.
Corrieri played in the World Cup of Pool with Fabio Petroni the year before last, and they pulled off an amazing win over Spain in the first round. Well, Petroni is in action at the moment and leading 3-0 against Mats Schietner, who we saw comfortably beaten by SVB earlier.
Nice shot there from the Italian.
Were you attempting to say Italian in an Italian accent there, Carl?
Definitely not.
It's got to go. It's got to go. Bad.
Kicking one rail, he will hit this ball. Things are going to move if he plays it hard. The 9 may even move as well. The 9 may move.
Where's it going to move to? Ooh.
He's having to swerve this. He just wants to hit the right edge. Use the green 6. The red 3 was blockers. Maybe played it a little bit harder. Played a bank there, trying to get the cue ball in behind the 6 and the 3 ball, the red 3. Maybe he should have paid a bit more attention to the cue ball, because he could have got his opponent in a lot more trouble here.
Corrieri looking to make the single elimination stage for the 2nd year in a row. Got to the last 64 last year in Milton Keynes. Didn't really make much progress in his match against Ko Ping Han, youngest of the Ko brothers, lost 11-3.
Not seeing a lot of jump shots made so far. I know we're still only on day 2, but usually we see the players firing a few in, but everyone seems to be a mile away.
Would there be a reason for that, do you think, Carl, or is it just coincidence?
Probably just coincidence on the matches I've commentated on there. I don't know if you've seen any, Michael, when you worked with JJ yesterday.
Yeah, I would agree. Not seen that many made.
Lacking a little bit of pace, but the 8 ball has come to the rescue. Nobody can get an open look at this 2 at the minute. Josh is going off the top rail with spin. And he's potted it in the left centre. He wasn't playing that. Maybe a little piece of him would have realised it's going to go near that pocket. He's fired the combo in. Is he going to get a little love? He isn't. He's kicking again. That was the big moment, Michael. Thought he was going to pop the jump shot.
Well, it's usually the way it works, isn't it? We spot a trend and then someone defies it. Corrieri has played for Italy in the World Cup on 5 occasions. Only registered that win over Spain. Lost to Denmark in the next round. And then a first round defeat to Albania last year. Lost in the first round in his first 3 appearances. But got a lot of experience from those World Cups of playing on the main stage, because there only is the main stage and 1 table at the World Cup.
Well, he didn't play it like that. He's been fortunate. This just seems to be turning into one of them racks. It was so key to Pagalian's win over Filler earlier today that
There were a few times on the match where Filler was starting to build a bit of a lead. And every time, it looked like he might start disappearing over the hill. Pagaline reined him in. Corrieri needs to do something similar now. Filler, such a good front runner.
Now, can he get his first rack on the board? This is another good chance. Corrieri's using a very colourful cue, isn't it? Look at that.
There's a bit of orange, is it? Or brown? Some green in there as well.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll have a look in a minute.
They like a bit of style, the Italians.
Well, he's not going to like this one. Look where the cue ball's going to finish again. Well, he won't be getting the jump cue, because that is welded on the 8 ball. Disaster start this.
Francesco Candela, who played with Corrieri for Italy in that World Cup last year, has just beaten his compatriot Davy Pier Giovanni 9-7. So Candela, who almost beat Shaw last night, Jason Shaw that is, has gone through. Play Mustafa Alnar in losers qualification round.
Oh, good shot there. Very good pot from Josh, because every time he's come to the table, he seems to have had work to do, so now it's a good chance just to get rid of this rack. It's been very scrappy.
That win for Candela completes the lineup now for this round. He was the last man to get into it. Joshua Filler may very well be the first man to get out of it. Corrieri's had his chances in both of the last 2 racks now. And after a very eventful and error-strewn and bad-looking Festus rack, Joshua Filler takes it in the end and now leads 4-0. "25 years of age, which is quite incredible, really, when you consider how long he's been around. Quarterfinals last year, got off to a great start, actually, in the last 8 against Alban Ocean. Was 4-0 up, but only won 2 more racks after that, lost 11-6. And you see there, 2022 World Pool Masters champion, listed rightly as a notable performance, and he had many of those throughout last year. Also won the UK Open, beating Francisco Sanchez Ruiz in the final. Was runner-up in the Premier League. A great Mosconi, as I was saying. That is his wife, Pia Filler.
Rack 5.
Was 1 rack away from being in this round.
Leading 4 racks to 0.
Well, I think she's giving him a telling off about something. Been a naughty boy, Josh.
I wonder, is it pool related or something entirely different?
It'll definitely be pooled, knowing the Fillers. I think it's when he missed that ball, Michael, wasn't it? Pia's not happy with that.
If in the future they're lucky enough to have children, what a story they'll have to tell them about the days before they were born, when the 2 of them traveled the world together, both playing in these big events, playing each other on one occasion in a huge event. What an adventure for the 2 young Germans. this could be completely different to the previous rack. Every chance of his second break and run already. Look at that, only 2 balls potted by Corrieri so far. As we've said, the frustrating thing is he's had the opportunities to pot many more than that.
Landed a little bit awkward on this 6 because now he just hasn't got a natural shot just to float over for the 7. You can see him fuming. Yeah, he just took his medicine there, just get the cue ball down, give yourself a shot, back yourself to pot it. May play for the 8 in the right centre. If he can hold it, fair enough, he will, and he'll play for the 8 in the bottom left. Yeah, he could hold it.
When your conversion rate for shots like that is so high, you can afford to back yourself. Leave the slightly more difficult pot. Nothing difficult about this 9 though, and it is going to be his second break and run of the contest. Daniele Corrieri knew he was up against it from the start.
Joshua Filler wins the rack.
So difficult for him now because Joshua Filler has eased himself into a 5-0 lead and is well on the way to claiming a place in the final 64.
Yeah, he's going to have to up his game now. You can tell he's just not quite happy, is he? He might end up qualifying for the final 64, but you want to be playing well.
Daniele Corrieri, 37 years of age. He's had his moments in the game, you know. He beat Niels Fyen in the World Masters almost 10 years ago when Fyen was top seed and defending champion. He's someone who falls into that category of always being a dangerous opponent without ever really having become a leading player himself. Gave Jason Shaw a really good match at the European Open last year. It was 4-1 up, later led 6-5, but then lost the next 5 racks and the match to go down 10-6 in the last 32.
Rack 6.
Moments of frustration for Joshua Filler, which is something you see a lot because he really is the ultimate perfectionist. In terms of the scoreline, it is perfection so far, 5-0.
Here comes the 2 ball.
Fabio Petroni, another Italian, is 5-0 up against Mats Schietner. Chris Melling going well against Ronald Regley, leading 5-2 now. Wojciech Szewczyk still in a real battle with Elliot Sanderson. That one is 3-all. Oliver Szolnocki, semi-finalist a couple of years ago, trailing 2-1 against Aydin Pikniak. Jan van Lierop of the Netherlands is a 4-2 lead over Jonas Souto Camino of Spain. Dimitri Jungo just ahead of Ralf Suke at 3-2. Also 3-2 for Pius Labutas of Lithuania over Mika Immonen, veteran Finn. Abdullah Al Youssef, semi-finalist last year, looking to get to single elimination once again. 3-2 up on Shane Wolford. Mario He has taken the first against Tobias Bongers. Just going back to Szolnocki, he's just levelled now at 2 apiece.
Well, it's another ball that shouldn't be going in, I'm afraid. Some of these balls in the opening 2 days are just falling in. I mean, look at this. It should just never go in from that angle. The bottom line is it did go in. It's not going to help Corrieri, is it? That's the problem.
Well, we did feel at the start of the night that more likely than not Filler was really going to turn it on after the frustration of not getting through earlier in the day and having to play this match on the loser's side. It wasn't quite like that earlier on, even when he was winning rack after rack. Corrieri Really could have made it a different story with the chances he had. But now, Filler is starting to step it up. And with about as easy a 9-ball as you're ever going to see, he makes it back-to-back break and runs, and he now leads by 6 racks to nil. Ralph Suke, Jan van Leeuwenhoek now 4-2 in front. Elliot Sanderson has fallen 4-3 behind against Wojciech Szewczyk. Chris Melling 5-2 lead now over Ronald Wrigley. And Fabio Petroni with that 5-0 lead. But very different for his compatriot Daniele Corrieri here. He's not even been to the table in the last couple of racks.
Again, potting the 1-ball in the side. Struggling to get a shot in this rack though. It doesn't look like you can see this red 3-ball. After the break, you can play a push out, the next shot. You can tell the ref push, and you can roll the cue ball wherever you want. Oh, is he going rail first? I think he's going rail first, Michael. Trying to pot this. Yeah, he is. Yeah, well done. Wasn't easy, in fairness to Josh. I know he looks a bit disappointed, but he really had to dig into the cue ball there.
Well, he always is, isn't he, when he misses? He just expects to pot everything. He backs himself all the time. It's a great asset, but at times it gets in his head when it doesn't quite work out for him. Maybe another word from Pia coming up. So, having sat out the last 2 racks, Corrieri, another decent chance to get off the mark here.
It's going to be a combination for his first rack.
Yep, short rack, 7-9 combination to finish. And so the whitewash is at the very least averted. If you're not familiar with the game of 9-ball, so long as you hit the lowest numbered ball on the table, any pot is legal, and you stay at the table. If you pot the 9 from it, then that wins you the rack. Let's have a look at Mario He and how he's getting on. Playing Tobias Bongers. He has come through 1 or 2 concerning moments in this championship already. He's won the first 2 racks here. And Fabio Petroni, we were talking about, was leading 5-0 over Mats Sjetner. He was on the main table earlier. The Norwegian against Shane Van Boning didn't really get much of a look in. Hasn't had much so far in this match, but he did win that rack to close to 5-1. Corrieri is back to 6-1. First look at his break in this match. How has this finished for him, Carl?
Well, he's potted the 1. If he can pot the 2 in the side, yeah, the overhead looks like he can. He's got to judge the cue ball. Yeah, he's okay here. All he can ask for is a shot off the break. Pink 4 to the right is kind of tied up, so there's a bit of work to be done. Needs this to bounce for a shot on the 3 in the right corner. Just got there. Decision time for Daniel. Does he draw it off the side rail all the way over to the right for a combo, or does he leave himself a bank shot into the side? This is, of course, losers qualification. The whole idea at the start of the week is just to try and make sure you make it through to that last 64. You want your name in the hat for the draw.
Yeah, normally at these events in recent times the draw has been generated by computer, but I have heard a whisper it's going to be more of an FA Cup style thing. They've actually got numbered balls in a bag this time. Now, create some tension later tonight.
There's a look at his cue. It's a very, very fruity cue, that, isn't it? Look at the design. Yeah, look at the colours.
Not likely to mistake that for anyone else's.
Incredible. Look. Some of these pool cues, you know, Michael, they're fortunes. Absolute fortunes. It'd scare you to death, Michael.
You'll have a few frights about that one. Wasn't an easy one, of course, but again, it's another chance that slipped away. So go on, frighten me then. What sort of prices are we talking about for the best ones?
Copigny, 30 grand.
Oh my word.
I know. But
how on earth can that be?
Well,
where does that money go?
These cue makers, you know, the way they build it's all about the bottom of the cue, and they have lasers that kind of make shapes into the wood, and then they can put gold in it and diamonds and all sorts of stuff.
Stephen Hendry won 7 World Snooker Championships with a cue he bought for £40.
Well, that's some Stephen up, just about right.
Oh dear.
Look at that. That's incredible.
You do know you're sitting here between the two biggest Stephen Hendry fans on earth, me and Phil Yates. I mean, you're really asking for trouble, saying.
I thought you were going to say the two tightest men.
Well, that too, maybe. The man who never likes to give anything away is Joshua Filler. He'll have been frustrated at losing the last track, missing that 5. But the 6-rack gap is restored here. And he only needs 2 more racks to make it through to single elimination. 7-1 to Joshua Filler. What was the most expensive cue you ever had? Tenner?
Well, if it was expensive, someone would have given me, that's for sure. How's Melling getting on, by the way? He's out there playing.
Yeah, let's have a look at some scores. Chris Melling, 6-2 up on Ronald Wrigley. Tough match for both of them, really, to have in this round, but Melling certainly having the better of it at the moment. Matt Shetner continuing his mini revival, closing to 5-2 down against Fabio Petroni. Johan Chua is 4-1 behind against Dimitris Lukatos, who just edged out Pia Filler in the previous round. Ralph Souquet still battling away, 4-3 down only against Dimitri Youngo. Shane Wolford is going nicely. He's now got a 5-3 lead over Abdullah Al Yusuf, who, as we keep saying, reached the semis last year.
Rack 9.
As we were saying, Mario He 2-0 up
Joshua
on Tobias Bongers. They're still in.
Leading 7 racks
the
to
next
1.
rack. Well, we saw Kazakis win from 7-1 down earlier today. It would be one of the most famous comebacks in World Championship history if Corrieri was to do the same.
This time he's got a really good shot on the lowest ball. The red 3 ball is also down there, so position is well easy. Yeah, he's had 6 breaks in this match and he's won all 6 racks. These are just a case of connecting the dots to get yourself on the hill. Good thing for Filler is he can regroup. He can get another good night's sleep, because a few players have struggled just because of the jet lag coming from overseas. But he's going to be the one to watch in the draw, Michael, because he's going to come through the left side, isn't he? So them winners, them players that have gone through with 2 wins, they'll be watching where he falls.
Well, I mean, he'll be the last player anyone's going to want to get. And that's the thing. He could end up playing Shane Van Bonen, Albin Ocean tomorrow. Any of those guys. We saw that in action, of course, at the European Open. And Filler himself ended up in the last 64 playing excellent catching. So for the 4th time in this match, Joshua Filler is going to run out from the break. Didn't want to be here for losers' side action tonight, but it doesn't look like he's going to be here much longer. Joshua Filler leads 8-1.
Joshua Filler
He'll be
wins the
breaking
rack.
on the hill when we come back. Struggling a bit with the tiredness, all the travel of late. Well,
on the hill.
Took time while we were away at the break there to grab a bit of shut-eye. He might be getting some proper sleep quite soon because he only needs one more rack here. Keeping you up to date on Mario He as well, someone who would always be expected to make the last 64, but has to get through tonight to do so. Well, he's leading 3-0 now against Tobias Bongers. Ruben Batista just needs a couple more, leading Abdullah Al-Anzi 7-3.
Oh, he's missed this by a mile. Just not there as accurate as we're used to seeing with the pots. I'm not saying it was easy, but we're just so used to seeing the young man smash these balls in, and that is well, you'd have got closer, Michael.
See, normally you say that sarcastically. This time I think you might actually be right. But you talk about golfers having tired swings. Well, that was a tired shot from Filler.
I think the big thing is you can start to convince yourself you're not feeling great as opposed to digging deep. I mean, Shane's flown in from the Derby. He went deep, you know, he got to the final of the 9-ball. He was one of the last men standing in that event, and he come and he's looked really good from the get-go.
Corrieri, as I've said, performed well on the Euro Tour over the years. Very high standard on that. Got to a couple of finals on it. Back-to-back events, in fact, 10 years ago. Lost to Konstantin Stepanov and Ralph Suke, who's in action here tonight. Had a quarter-final on the Euro Tour last summer in Austria as well. And he's still hanging on here. Very unlikely to get through, but he has won that one after that wild miss from Filler. It's now 8-2. Wojciech Szewczyk now leading 6-4 against Elliot Sanderson. That's developing into one of the most intriguing contests of the evening here. This is what it all leads up to. As you can see, once they get through to tomorrow, guaranteed $1,500, but look how quickly it goes up after that. Doubles if you get to the last 32, again if you get to the last 16, 5-figure checks once you get to the quarters, and then really is shooting up. 30,000 guarantee if you get to the final, and then you can double that by winning the title itself. I think it is fair to say, though, that for guys who are in contention to win this, it really is about the title and putting your name down in history. Shane Van Boening looking to become the second man to retain it. Alban Ocean looking to match the all-time record of 3 wins. History will be written by someone in the next few days. Speaking of Van Boening, he's had 5 break-and runs in both of his first 2 matches. There was a chance Filler could have emulated that, but of course he won't now because he won't be breaking again. Has had 4 so far, and that will be his final total.
We might see Filler attack the pink 4-ball. There you go, he's having a look. Jump over the edge of the 9. Try and draw the cue ball into the green 6 and pop the pink 4.
Frozen ball.
Corrieri's been around for some time, but you look at his career earnings, Carl, and he clearly isn't surviving on those. I know some players do things like coaching around the game as well, but what sort of percentage of the players we see in these events have other full-time jobs outside of pool?
It's a good question. Probably a large portion, a large portion really of the field, but you know, obviously Matchroom are trying to change the sport, but there's still a lot of players that do it full time. You know, they have the help of sponsors and stuff like that.
Foul stroke.
I think that is the end of Corrieri's chance.
Ball in hand.
Of staging a wonderful comeback.
Yeah, and if he does have a day job, I think he's going to be heading back to it now. Big night for him, playing Joshua Filler out here on the main table. Doesn't really happen for him. Had his chances early on, and that's the frustrating thing for him. Could have won a couple of the early racks if he had. A bit of pressure had been applied to Filler. It might have been a very different story. We didn't expect Joshua Filler to be involved in losers qualification. We did expect him to be in the last 64 tomorrow, and he will be. Doesn't even need to pot the final 9. Corrieri comes forward. He trailed 6-0, did get a couple of racks back, but in the end, Joshua Filler, the former champion, is through to tomorrow. He wins by 9 racks to 2.